So today is September 30th, and it is the last day for the $7,500 EV tax credit, which will be going away as of October 1st. So I figured it would be a good idea to talk about or speculate on what might happen next with Tesla, in particular with the cars that they're going to have, and hopefully maybe price changes for what they will offer, as well as just go for a drive and see how FSD does. So I've got two destinations set up today to see how FSD 13.2.9 does, and then we will also discuss what we think might be coming to the Tesla lineup. So since there will be an end of the $7,500 tax credit on October 1st, that means that basically all of the Teslas that are under $80,000 or for the sedan, for the Model Y, under $55,000. So basically the 3, the Y, the X, well, actually, I think the X is now over the 80,000 base. But the Cybertruck, all-wheel drive, all of those vehicles will basically increase by $7,500 as of tomorrow or today, as I am probably going to release this video. And last time this happened, Tesla actually went ahead and they decreased the price of the existing models, and I believe they came close to basically decreasing them by close to that $7,500, which is interesting. I don't know that their margins are actually that good at this point in order to be able to do that. They have brought the prices down considerably from where they were at one point, so they probably don't have that much margin to actually work with. But they are also planning on hopefully a new affordable model, which is likely to be a stripped down Model Y. All right, so we actually need to get across these two lanes. I got a couple cars here that are supposedly turning left, so we could go, but it's being cautious and waiting for them, because we do need to get all the way over here. So it does that good and comfortably too, because I'm all for waiting for those cars and being certain that they're actually going to be turning, and they did, and we actually had a gap there to do that U-turn like perfectly. So that really worked out well, really just by the spacing of the car. Sometimes I don't like how quickly it tries to get out in front of people for that U-turn, and also I don't like where it sets up for that U-turn. So both things that it did this time was actually perfect. So getting back to that cheaper Model Y, it sounds like it's going to be taking a lot of things out. So the current Model Y has the front light bar, it has the rear light bar, so those two things are supposedly going to be removed. They're also going to not have a glass roof, supposedly, not a screen in the rear console. So in the new Y, not in my current Y, but in the new Y, it actually has a screen for the back seats. Supposedly that's going to go away, and I would imagine that also like all the power folding rear seats and that sort of thing is probably going to go away. Possibly the ventilated seats. We'll have to see how much they actually take out of it. But more importantly, is it going to have the same amount of range, or more range, or less range? We don't know. And how much can they actually take out of the cost of the Model Y? Because it's already very affordable for an SUV, and really for a luxury SUV as it is, it's very affordable. Now I wouldn't have gone around this guy because we do have to turn right up here, and yeah, now we're gonna have to wait for him. Oh wow, he slowed down. Man, see, we didn't do that right, because we made him slow down, and he really didn't need to do that. He's actually turning there. Well, I don't know how much he slowed down for us versus just slowed down to turn, but that was not the smartest move for Tesla FSD to get over to the left lane when we had to turn right, obviously. So we're just going to be turning in here to this, and there's a bunch of traffic here, so it might be more interesting to see how we end up getting out of here, because it could be somewhat difficult. So even if they come out with this new stripped down Model Y, if it's only $7,500 less, which would be a great price reduction, but if it's $7,500 less than the current model, it's essentially not going anywhere from what we could purchase the Model Y for today. So obviously this is the last day that we can purchase it for that $7,500 off, but still, it's not going to feel that great if they can only get the price down $7,500. If they can get it down $10,000 and maybe lower a few $1,000s off the current models, then I think that would be. Oh, that's interesting. All right, I'm not going to let it stop here, just because I'm like totally in the way. But it was going to just park right here in the lane where people would typically pick up their groceries. So that was actually a perfect drive there. Definitely getting over into the left lane was not awesome. Definitely didn't need to do that. But other than that, that was actually a good drive, and it was just going to park us right in front of that food depot. So that was a good drive. We'll go ahead and... All right, it's going to continue on to the next destination now. So this one, we're actually have to get out here. There's a lot of traffic, and we're going to have to get over 2 lanes to get into the turn lane. So we'll see how it handles that. All right. So yeah, if they can take a few $1,000s off of the current models of the Model Y and the 3, and then also release that cheaper version that's significantly cheaper, to get the price down to say $35,000 or lower for that vehicle would be great. Again, we're gonna have to see how much they take out of that vehicle to get to that price point, and what kind of range is it gonna have, because honestly, it's not really worth it to me if you would also be sacrificing a good amount of range. They showed, at least with the Cybertruck, that when they tried to release that cheaper version of the Cybertruck, they didn't sacrifice the range. It was actually a longer range, but all right, so this is interesting here. See what we're gonna do here. Okay, wow, they let us through, so that was actually very nice that it was able to do that. And we actually got right over into the lane that we need to be in to get into the turn lane. So that actually worked out very well. I think we got lucky that everybody was willing to wait for us there. I don't know what it would have done if it couldn't get over, but hey, I'll take it. So I don't know. The other thing about the Model Y, the cheaper Model Y, is that it may have cloth seats, which would be a real bummer. And I really don't like losing the glass roof. It definitely makes the interior feel a lot more spacious. It just, it just feels a lot better in the car with that. So the things that they take away on the interior could have a large impact to whether it's a desirable model. But I mean, obviously, if you can lower the price by $10,000, then hey, I mean, you can reach a wider audience of people who are willing to purchase it. All right, so we got in the wrong lane there. All right, I had to disengage because we are not supposed to go across those yellow lines. So I went ahead and disengaged. It got in the wrong turn lane. Easy mistake, and I'm sure it was just going to drive straight across, and I'm sure tons of other people have done that. With no question as to whether they should or not. But I didn't actually want to let it do that. Now, to get out of here, okay, now it's rerouted to go the other direction, which is going to be a lot easier. It's definitely really difficult to get out in this area, and it's funny because it actually was able to get out into the correct lane, and then it kind of just blew that opportunity, uh, sadly, to do exactly what it needed to do. But again, it wasn't going to hit anything. I just didn't want to let it drive. Well, so the other this other truck uh, did exactly what we were going to do. So I mean, people do it all the time, and it's just because the traffic backs up there, I guess. But I still didn't want to let it just drive across the yellow lines like that because it really shouldn't be driving there. So it was a disengagement, but it was definitely not a safety critical one. It was just my preference to not do what it was trying to do. So in addition to the cheaper Model Y, which will hopefully get strong sales if they price point correctly and don't take away too many of the features, hopefully it'll be a good car, good mixture of price and features. They also hopefully will be having the Model YL come out at some point. Now, Elon Musk already kind of said that it wasn't going to be available until the end of next year, if at ever, in the US, but it's already selling very well in China. And really, if it would sell very well, even with a little bit higher price point than the current Model Y, then it really seems like that would be a good model to go ahead and release and get more sales. It would also be an awesome vehicle for robotaxi because you could actually put, you could at least put 5 in there once they have no safety driver. But right now, you can only put 3 comfortably in a Model Y that's currently available. So you could get 5 in a Model Y L. That would be actually very nice. Very nice addition to robotaxi. Again, obviously most rides are just one person or 2 people. There's the 95% of the rides or whatever are that many people. But still, if it helps sell more vehicles, because I know, at least for myself, I'm very excited for the potential of having the Model YL. So if they had that new vehicle, then that would be a great option. There's also some interesting possibilities with the Cybertruck and possibly an SUV built off of the Cybertruck chassis. So that would be like a full-size, a large 3-row SUV. That could sell a lot as well. That would be probably really expensive, but maybe it would help them get the cost down on the Cybertruck, and they could sell actually a more affordable Cybertruck. They also talked about having a smaller Cybertruck. So all these options could actually be new vehicles that could help move the needle while they're not having to worry about this tax credit basically changing how many people are trying to get cars right before that ends. They can find price points easier, and it's not swayed by a bunch of, basically made up deadlines for when the prices are just going to change by $7,500. So it'll be very interesting to see what kind of vehicles we have available to us and how soon after this $7,500 tax credit is gone do they show off those new, release those new vehicles, the cheaper Model Y or any other changes to any of the cars, and how soon they will lower the prices of the current models, which I've got to think that they are almost certainly going to lower the price by some amount, just to get it closer to not being that full $7,500 price difference immediately. So what do you think? What are you looking forward to as far as cars that Tesla could be releasing, and what would you be willing to pay for a Model Y that didn't have all of the premium features that The Y has, some of the nicer things like the glass roof and the rear screen and the power lift seats. How much are you willing to pay for that version of the car, or is it even something that you would want? Or do you really only care about the range and the fact that it's a Tesla? Because it'll still be a Tesla. It'll still have it'll still have access to the Tesla network and everything. So you'll be able to drive it cross country even if it had only 250 miles, which I doubt that they would go any less than 250 miles, even for a shorter or smaller pack version of the Model Y. I would imagine they're going to keep it over 250 miles. All right, so going this direction to get to this Publix here is definitely a better route than it was attempting to do. Ironically, it did really get through the hardest part of that navigation, and totally could have made it going the other way, but I just didn't want to let it do what it was trying to do there. So maybe I should just let it go. Everybody else was doing that same thing right after me, so probably would have been fine. But other than that disengagement, which I really didn't need to do, just kind of felt like I wanted to do that. It's been a very good drive. And see what it's going to do here at the Publix. If it's going to stop in the front of Publix like it did in front of Food Depot. Gotta wait for this guy. Lots of people. All right, so the car wanted to stop for that guy. He actually waved us on, so I went ahead and pushed it forward. And it actually stopped. Okay, so this is where it stopped for Publix. All right, so another pretty much perfect drive getting to Publix. So FSD 13.2.9 has definitely been very good, and I'm hoping soon we will get version 14 and it will be much better. So that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.